Today's the 13th of March, and welcome to Sacred Segments, everyone. Thank you for being here. We talked very momentarily about the spiral behind Barbara, and it reminded me of a story that I want to say to you. When I first met my partner started talking about the spiral being God's signature, and said, "Oh, isn't it amazing how, you know, the spiral is seen everywhere in nature, you know, in galaxies, on the top of our head, and it's like God's signature, you know." And why does he keep mentioning spirals? It was mentioning spirals again and again and again and again. And we were on one of our very first dates, and we were on a boat. We were going to a restaurant, and I couldn't remember the name of the restaurant. And we finally got there, and the restaurant was called In Spiral. So it was really like synchronistic, you know, that spirals were mentioned. We were on our way to that place. Just a wonderful bit of synchronicity that was happening. I find that whenever you know, you're on a high vibration, that a lot of synchronicities happen. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting that to observe. And I think that when these synchronicities are happening, it really shows you that the higher that we can get vibrationally, the more in alignment we are with everything to do with manifestation. And they just keep coming, these synchronicities, all the time. And then when they're not there, it's kind of like showing us that there's something that we need to do to raise our vibration. And this is hourly, you know, sometimes. Welcome, Greta. Lovely to see you. I've missed you. How are you?
I am doing great, thank you. I've been so busy, that's why I've not been here. But I'm happy to see you, and I see new people as well. That's fun.
Yeah, that's great
to
meet. And welcome, DJ, that's joined us as well. How are you doing, DJ?
Good.
It's been a long time. Good to see you. You're looking well.
It sure has. Sure has.
Love the colors. Love the colors.
Thank you.
So I picked a card from the Abraham deck, which is the Law of Attraction deck. And it was about relationships, interestingly. And it says, as I enjoy people, I attract enjoyable people, which reminded me of how our thoughts are constantly creating our reality, which is something we know and we hear all the time. But when we start to put it into practice into our daily lives, it's a good reminder that we can manifest whatever we attune to. And I saw a beautiful meme this week about exactly that from Abraham, is that if something that's happening in your life is not good, and we focus on that by talking about it, then we're just bringing more of that. And that was a great wake-up call for me, actually, because I do it a lot. I'm really guilty of maybe addressing a certain issue or problem with certain people, you know, and I want to talk about it and I want to resolve it. Actually, maybe that's not the right call. Mm-hmm. You know, it's an interesting one, because I'm from the old school where you talk about things till you fix them. But maybe that's not necessarily the right thing to do. I'm just going to read the reverse of the card and then we'll do introductions. It says, I want great relationships. I so enjoy nice, clever, funny, energetic, stimulating people. And I love knowing that this planet is abundant with them. It seems that the more I enjoy people, the more people, I'm just going to mute that person. Hello. I want great relationships. I so enjoy nice, clever, funny, energetic, stimulating people. I love knowing that this planet is abundant with them. It seems that the more I enjoy people, the more people whom I enjoy come into my experience. I love this time of spectacular co-creation. So it's just another affirmation that we are co-creators with the divine, and we must be aware of our thoughts. Okay, let's do introductions. Carl, we'll start with you and I'll go second.
Mute. So hi, I'm Carl Preisler, and I'm Irish from Ireland. living in Spain. I'm a trance medium. I used to work in IT for a global entertainment company, but now retired. So my main focus is trance work, working with my spirit guide, Katarang, and also other star guides and light beings. And sometimes that might involve trance-directed healing. I also like to work on spirit release and soul rescue and geopathic work if I'm out in the countryside, or also if I'm visiting, I guess, historic sites. I might tune in and try and help shift and lift any trapped souls that might be there into the light. I'm also a qualified clinical hypnotherapist. I'm trained in past life regression, and I did Reiki to master level as well many years ago.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Carl. My name's Alexis Constantinou. I'm from London, from Greek Cypriot parents, and was raised here and in the Midlands, and I lived in Cyprus for a couple of years when I was in my early teens. I'm a singer, and I'm fascinated in the mystic arts and the holistic field. I'm very into new thought and psychology and the power of our minds. And the whole purpose in creating this this group, it was an extension of something that I used to run in my home, which was an idea of getting people together to discuss how metaphysics works and the law of attraction. And eventually, I would love to turn this into a television show and provide a platform for other people and incorporate comedy and cookery and fun and art of all different types, and a platform for everybody to just do their thing. And also manifest retreats globally with other people, which is something that I've been very excited about. And Tracey also sort of reignited that inspiration recently, so thank you. That's me in a nutshell. Toby.
Hi, my name's Toby Johnson. I'm in Austin, Texas. I lived during the 1970s in San Francisco, and was part of the development of the gay-oriented psychotherapy. And I had an interesting experience in graduate school of working as a psychiatric technician, a kind of psych nurse, at the crisis clinic for the Jewish hospital, Mount Zion Hospital, which was the very traditional medical model, Freudian psychiatry. But then I was in school for a degree in psychology at the California Institute of Integral Studies, which was very New Age, progressive, Oriental religion oriented. So I got exposed to both real medicine and the trippy consciousness side of psychology. And I think that both of these are true, and the interesting effort has to be to somehow come up with a worldview that includes both the magical and the realistic. And through school, I saw that Joseph Campbell was doing a lecture in Ukiah, California, up about 100 miles north of San Francisco. And I signed up to be a work scholar, and was invited to come up a day early to help clean the building. And Campbell also came early, so I had an opportunity to meet him personally. I was a young hippie kid, and very taken with, I'd read The Hero with a Thousand Faces, and it explained so much to me about religion. So I ended up working at that place for several years, and Campbell was the big figure, and he and I corresponded and got to be sort of personal friends. And I've written a couple of books about Campbell and sort of how to understand religion from that comparative religions model.
I really look forward to hearing you talk more about your experiences later today, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you.
Barbara.
You're muted.
Yeah, you're muted. Is my sound a little better? I adjusted it, by the way. Yeah, good.
Yeah, me again. So you want me to introduce myself?
Please do. Yeah, say hi.
Okay. Okay. So basically, it's interesting actually that Tom brought up about Joseph Campbell, because I did my Feldenkrais training at Sarah Lawrence, which was where Joseph Campbell was based for quite a number of years. And in the dorm where I was staying, we could really feel his presence. You know, it was fantastic. I mean, he'd passed before I got there, but yeah. So I trained as a Feldenkrais practitioner. I work with I trained in New York at Sarah Lawrence, and I work with the Monroe Institute. I work with HeartMath as a HeartMath trainer, a practitioner, and I work with Bachflower Remedies. I'm a trainer and a practitioner there. And my main focus is helping people to find the true sense of who they really are. And that can be achieved through movement, through Feldenkrais work, through working with their emotional balance, through working with reaching their higher levels of consciousness with the Monroe Institute, or by heart-brain connection with HeartMath. And it depends. Sometimes I do one or two things with people. Sometimes I am guided to work solely in one particular area.
Thank you, Barbara.
Welcome.
Laura.
Hi, everybody. It's my first time joining this group, so thank you for welcoming me. I'm very glad to be here. I guess I'll introduce myself as who I once was and who I am now, with the midpoint being spiritual transformation I experienced. So prior to January 11, 2019, I was in psychology. I had been a therapist for many years, having received a master's degree in counseling psychology, and earning a PhD in social foundations, teach in the field of psychology. My Mary, I operated under that name. I had gathered in my lifetime to become a quantum healer, which involves hypnotherapy. In a sense, I have a practice of quantum healing at this time, and I use the professional name Laura Moon to do that. Again, thank you very much for welcoming me here.
Great to meet you, and I look forward to your future segment. Laura is going to be a future guest, a main guest on Sacred Segments on the subject of quantum healing. Very excited to learn more about that. Thanks.
Thank you very much indeed.
Tracey, good to see you.
And good to see you all too. My background is the College of Psychic Studies. I was trained there and then worked there from around 1999 to 2015. I have an international practice. I have 2 retreat centers that support the soul journey and the shifting changes that we're seeing in consciousness and timelines currently. I have schools in Japan and also held online. What else can I say? I have a prayer initiative also, but my main interest is consciousness, timelines, gateways, stargates, prophecies. You name it, I've researched it and been involved in research on the subjects that clearly create miracles in healing. So that's what I'm really interested in, how we are trained well enough and we experience deeply enough healing and are facilitators, mentors, custodians, so that the new consciousness gateways can be opened, activated, initiated for us. I'm extremely interested in psychology and new psychology as well. It's part of my body of work as a channel. And you'll find out more about me because I do live on a gateway in Egypt, and I live in the Medina Habu, which is the royal palace, and it's an extraordinary gateway to exist in.
Thank you, Tracey.
Thank you.
We'll hear more from Tracey as she leads a segment later on the gateways. Stargates, sorry. Thank you. Greta, or would you rather me call you Coach Greta?
You can call me Greta, that's my name. Thank you. Yes, hi everyone, I'm Greta or Coach Greta. I am a manifestation coach and energy healer, and I'm also a biologist. So I have worked in environmental management for many years, and my passion really is bringing science and spirituality together, because I've studied the law of attraction for about 20 years. And for a long time, there was a distance between my scientific disposition and the law of attraction. And then I started, a few years ago, I started discovering how science and spirituality really go together. And so now that's my passion. And my passion is also helping people manifest what they want using making the law of attraction work for you so that you can manifest what you want. And I have found some really, really helpful tools to do that. Different energy healing modalities like Psyche, emotion code, body code, and belief code. And using these modalities, I help my clients release their emotional baggage and change their subconscious beliefs, because your beliefs are your filter for reality and your point of attraction. So if you change your beliefs, you change your life. And I see such amazing, amazing results for my clients. Really fast results and lasting results using these modalities. So I'm really passionate about it. And yeah, that's me. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to see familiar faces and new faces. So hi, everyone.
Thank you, Greta. I'm really glad you're here.
I can also say Veronica or Veronicorn. That's
Yeah.
my friend. She can't be on camera or talk right now because she's working, but she's here as my friend to listen and take part. So
Thank you for telling me that, because I wasn't sure whether that was the Veronica that I know from Mexico or not.
no, it's
I'm really
not.
glad that you explained
The
that.
Norwegian Veronica.
Okay, got you. Hi, Veronica. I won't ask you to introduce yourself then. Thank you for doing that, Greta. Before I come to DJ and then Anna, I just like to say that on the back of what you work with, some of the Bruce Lipton work that you're involved with, I saw a wonderful thing that I shared on Sacred Segments today about the aura that was posted by a lady called Faith Spinner. And she had something in there. It wasn't her graphic, but it was about auric damage and how sometimes when you have a tear in your aura from whatever reason that happened, that there are some beings called the Watchers that can be in your aura. And I didn't know, I still don't know what these are. I'm sure some of you probably do know what they are, but I have an idea of what they are. But it was a fascinating sort of process to try and understand and decipher what these Watchers are. I see them as like low astral entities that maybe come in through pairs, and I don't know, but it's something to explore in the future. And perhaps we can have a discussion about it towards the end. But it reminded me of it thinking about Bruce Lipton, who you work with, because I think it was borrowing from that whole work. Yeah, so thank you for sharing. It's been a while, DJ. Good to see you. You're looking great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's good to see everyone. I know some few familiar faces, and there's a lot of them I haven't met before, but it's good to see everyone again. And I am from the US, from USA in Modesto, California. And it's a nice day out here. And yeah, it has been a long while since I've joined the segment meeting. And I just want to say that I missed everyone.
It's great.
And I'm sorry, and I'm happy to be here today.
Thank you. I know that DJ has been part of Sacred Segments for a very long time, since the early days, and he shared his story in the past of how he had a brain injury, and I've watched him recover, and it's been amazing. So I'm really glad you're here, and you look awesome. Anna, glad you could make it. Wasn't sure you were going to, but it's good to see you.
Yeah, I wasn't sure too because I had something earlier and then I had to do something, but I was like, no, I'm gonna come on, I'm gonna come on. What do you want me to do?
Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So hello everyone. It's so good to see some faces I haven't seen in a while, as well as the new faces. It's wonderful. So for those of you who don't know me, or for those of you who do know me, also, my name is Anna, and I'm originally from New York City, but I live in Spain because Spirit called me here. And I am a shamanic healer working with my own modality that was given to me in 2011. But I've been, my journey started, my disciplined journey, let me put it that way, because I was always very intuitive and always worked with spiritual stuff my whole life. But my discipline practice started when I started studying feng shui 20 years ago, and working with energy through that modality, which was actually shamanic feng shui. And so I didn't know that that's what I was uncovering in myself at the time.
Anna, you've frozen. I don't know if you're still talking, but you've frozen. I'll give you just a few seconds to see if you can come back to us. Hopefully you will in time once your internet connection catches up. There is something before I hand over to Barbara, before I do. I would just like to share this thought on the practice of the present, which is a practice channeled by the master Aetherius. I was a member of the Aetherius Society. Some of you may have heard of that. It's a spiritual organization founded by Sir George King, who was the only Western master of yoga. And there is something called the spiritual push, which happens 4 times a year, where an intergalactic spacecraft comes into the orbit of the Earth, and it helps all spiritual actions that are of unselfish motive, for instance, prayer. It potentizes them by 3,000 times during these 4 periods. I know that this is something that sounds really extraordinary and literally out of this world, and it is. I was a member of this society for many, many years, and I learned incredible stuff. And there's this practice, which I'm not going to lead us through, but I'm just going to talk about it just for 2 minutes and then hand over to Barbara. So this practice of the present, which is in this book called The Practices of Aetherius, and it's about £2, this book, so it's really, really cheap. Really, really cheap, and it's full of amazing information. It's quite a short book. It's a visualization that's a very, very powerful protective practice where you call upon and visualize different energy frequencies to help your aura, and you do it through calling on the energies of the Mother Earth and the sun and the spiritual sun and your own sun, as in your spirit. And you do these certain visualizations and you raise your frequency. It's incredible. I urge you to get this little book for £2, The Practice of the Present. You can buy it online. It's amazing. I would spend more time talking to you about it, but I don't want to take up Barbara's time. And we're already 3 minutes past, half past. So I'm going to leave it there and hand over to you, Barbara. Thank you, everybody, for introducing yourselves. We'll hear more from some of you very soon. Barbara, lovely to have you here.
Thank you very much, Alexis.
I'm going to make you co-host. Okay, so
okay. Well, I'm not actually going to be doing any
screen sharing.
Yeah, I'm not doing any of the PowerPointy type of thing. No. Yes, your last comment about presence was actually very pertinent to what we work with at the Monroe Institute, in fact, because it's very much we're working with our ability to be fully present, and our one of the great turbochargers that we use in programs and for personal practice is gratitude. And I find that gratitude is a wonderful, wonderful way of practicing presence, because we can be grateful for the smallest things or the biggest things and everything in between. But if moment by moment we're grateful for something, it always brings us back into the here and now. So my journey with the Monroe Institute began as my the lovely intro that Alexis sent out. It began after I'd had a near-death experience. It was my 5th over a long period of time, and I was clear everything. I was hearing people's thoughts. My sensory capacity had gone off the roof. Everything was just highly tuned, and I was having experiences with nature that really made me think I was going completely nuts, And I mean, one particular one was a crow that was dead, and then basically it wasn't dead. And, you know, just thinking when I accessed the lesson that I needed to access in that moment, the crow didn't need to be dead anymore, jumped on his feet and flew away. So it was, there were lots of so many, I really couldn't mention them all, but yeah. So in my journey to find a level of sanity, I found the Monroe Institute and went to visit them in 2001, having had a number of very graphic dreams in which Robert Monroe was actually showing me around the Monroe Institute. I knew Robert's Mountain Retreat and the Nancy Penn Centre before I ever got there. I knew what was in behind each door. It was very strange. But the journey led me, I mean, I was there for 9/11. All of us who were there that week were meant to be there. We all had different roles to play in a very necessary healing process. I've never seen that event on TV, video, or anything, and we all made a decision while we were at Monroe Institute that we wouldn't actually watch it unless we absolutely had to or by accident, but it wasn't something we were going to go out to seek because we'd been involved in a different kind of way. So I was actually there for the Gateway Voyage experience, which is the very first in the trainings. And the first 3 days, the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I had the most extraordinary energy clearing experiences during the exercises. I mean, I was being scrubbed, I was being rollered, this was all energetic beings that were doing all of this during the exercises. It was like being on a roller coaster. And so by the time 9/11 and the event actually occurred, I was squeaky clean and ready for what took place. And my role in that particular event was to do some soul rescue with the pilots. And because the biggest damage to them was actually psychological, their responsibility of being where they were, whether they were involved or not, you still have an involvement because you're the person flying the plane. You know, it's like witnessing a car accident. You feel you've been involved in it, you know. And so it was a very, very powerful, humbling experience because I realized just how much we were all interconnected. We couldn't go anywhere after the program because everything was closed down, especially in Virginia, and so I had to stay for the second program, which was wonderful, and guidelines, and that's a program where you're reaching within and accessing your own guidance. We work with what we call the ISH, ISH, your inner self-helper. And the premise being that, you know, we can look outside for help. We can receive help from outside, but really the greatest helper that we have during our time on this planet and perhaps beyond is actually our inner self. So guidelines is all about connecting with your inner self. And we had some really interesting people came in. Some people left because they were local, and some people came in. We had a gentleman who came to join the program, and he told us he had been abducted 2 or 3 times, 3 times I think it was. And so he had some interesting tales to tell us. There was another gentleman who was a mountain man so the abductee was a tiny little guy, and the mountain man was a great giant, and they became tremendous friends, and they were everywhere together. And yeah, it was a very powerful experience. So with the Monroe Institute, we work with what we call the binaural beats. So we're working with sound technology that is enabling us to access deeper aspects of ourselves. So we're able to move into higher levels of consciousness. We're able to really eliminate in the nicest possible way, not through force, not through external action, but through inner work. Actions or events in the past that are holding us back. We're able to work with tuning in to the potential of who we are, the greatness that every one of us has. We're able to really access that on a very deep level. And it always makes me smile, because the work we're doing involves us lying down on a very nice, comfortable bed with headphones on in this lovely enclosed space. We're in kind of a at the Monroe Institute, we usually have a shared room, but it's like your bed is in a cubicle which is completely closed off. So you are in totally your own special, completely dark space. And, you know, to be a 5.5 day program where you are literally lying down the whole time is pretty darn good. The discussions afterwards are amazing, because everybody has a very different experience. Everybody's journey is different, yet our group energy, our group consciousness lifts everybody participating in the exercises. So I've just returned to the Monroe Institute in February, and I was what they call a participant observer, because I'm just starting my training to be a residential trainer. I've been an outreach trainer for a number of years, training 1, 2, 3 day programs. But this training was interesting because, knowing that I was there to learn, you're in a kind of different framework altogether. So I didn't have the one fandango experiences I'd had in the past in many of the events. But one of the programs that we have is called Exploration 27, and this is a very, very high level program. You have to have completed 2 specific programs before you get to Exploration 27. So it's a very deep program. And when in that program, what I saw numerous times was an eye, just one eye, we're out there in the universal spatial energy, and I would see single eyes, one eye or several one eyes. So the experience I had during this last gateway was the eye appeared. And of course, the eye is eye as well. So you've got that lovely little quirk of humor from the universe. So the eye appeared, and I looked at the eye and I thought, okay, you know, so what have you got to tell me? And a ladder appeared at the eye, and the ladder was leading into the pupil of the eye. So I climbed up the ladder, I went through the pupil, and I ended up in this beautiful space on the other side. And there was a meeting taking place. And the meeting was taking place in a very beautiful, old, kind of like an American chapel. And it was, I knew it was the new group of people that I will be connecting with over these next months, years, etc., etc. And who knows, perhaps you were all there. But that was very profound. One of my very, very favorite programs of them all is Lifelines. And Lifelines, we work with soul rescue, and we're taught a particular process for rescuing, working with people who have died, usually people who've died suddenly. So often when I'm driving on the highway and I see a car accident, I'll pull off the road and I'll just spend a little bit of time and do some soul rescue, hoping that whoever's been in the car is safe. But if they're not, you know, I'm helping them on their way, because we know that many people get trapped in the here and there, in the in-between space, simply because the shock of passing and the trauma is something that's so intense they can't move beyond it, so they need some extra help. So we are taught to be the bridge between the guides that can take them on to the next place and the person that is trapped. So we actually act as a bridge between. And I've had some really, I mean, I could write a book just on the experiences I've had with that. One of the interesting applications I've created for this work is with animals. So sadly in Cyprus, we get quite a lot of roadkill, cats and dogs that have been run over, especially on the highways. So rather than going into empathy and feeling for the animal, what I do is I connect with their soul. And I invite their soul to come and spend a little bit of time with me. So I'm driving along on the highway and I've got the soul of this cat or dog or several of both on my lap, you know, and I'm stroking them, talking to them and whatever. And then when they're ready, I have two of my animals, two of my cats who've passed over. They come down and they take the souls off into the next plane, and oh, it's so wonderful. And I know when I meet animals, when I meet cats and dogs, they always want to come, they always want to talk to me, and there's always this sort of acknowledgement that I feel that they know, you know, that they know that work is taking place, and you know, who knows, they're probably giving me their visiting card for when they choose to pass over. But yeah, for me, this has been, I mean, I've been involved in many different things. The Monroe work has really been the bedrock that's helped me to move through these past few years. After my car accident, I was very seriously injured and I was out of work for about 10 years. So the fact I actually got through the to the point where I could actually afford to go to the Monroe Institute. I didn't have the money at the time. I was given a scholarship. But the fact that I moved through that and beyond that was mainly because I was given that I took that opportunity, because we can always turn away from something, however powerful it is, and walk in the other direction. We don't have to say yes. You know, we've got freedom of choice, and I said yes, and I've continued to say yes. I've attended, I think, 11 programs at the Monroe Institute, and some of them are so much fun. I mean, there's one which is called Heartlines, and literally we're working with bliss. We're working with joy, happiness, laughter, camaraderie, all of those things. And as a heart math specialist in the field, I've been asked to go to a Heartline program in the UK and one in Italy to monitor the participants with the heart math monitoring system. So because heart math haven't actually done a great deal of work on bliss, on really joyful happiness. So this is going to be a very interesting piece of research, both for the Monroe Institute and for HeartMath. So that's going to be great fun. And we do things like spoon bending, and we've got manifesting courses. And I'm not advertising the Monroe Institute. I'm sharing my joy of having connected with this amazing place and the people that I meet. I think the most profound experience when I did my first gateway, which is continued with all the other programs, is meeting people. You know, when you're in that space where you're moving along on a path and nobody else, and I'm sure you've all been there, you know, nobody else gets where you're going, and they think that you've gone, you know, you've just gone a step too far along some path that they don't quite understand. To actually meet people who are on a similar journey, and this is the beauty of what Alexis is bringing together here, is you are all so very different, and you've all got incredibly powerful guidance, messages, and you are bringing all of that into this one place. And it's a fantastic role, a fantastic act of service, Alexis, that you're offering people here. I think it's fabulous. So I didn't check what time I started. I could go on forever and I won't. So any questions? Toby?
You're in Cyprus.
I
Is the
can't
Monroe
hear you.
Institute?
Just give me a second.
Okay.
You do? Okay, off you go.
Oh, okay. I was asking, you're in Cyprus?
I'm
Is that right?
I'm
Is
based
that
in,
is that
sorry.
where the Monroe Institute is now? Or
No,
is that just your home?
No, the Monroe Institute is in Virginia.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and it's still there, and so everybody, all the trainers are allowed to use the term. For me, it's Monroe Institute Cyprus. We've got Monroe Institute Benelux. We've got Monroe Institute France. So we're, you know, we are kind of like little outposts of the Monroe Institute. Yeah. So anybody else?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about the binaural beats. Because I am aware Monroe Institute was one of the first to do it, and I even have one of the CDs from well, I guess about 15, 20 years ago. The heart program. But now you see a lot of videos on YouTube that are, you know, offering binaural beats, meditation music and stuff. Do you know at all if, you know, they're as equally beneficent, or is it, you know, does it need a refined technology like the Monroe Institute provides to be able to produce what's really needed, you know, to be listening to the binaural beats and have them work on both hemispheres of the brain?
That's a great question. I mean, basically, I think it works, whatever works for you works. And even the Monroe Institute, I mean, I love HemiSync, and I use it a lot for myself. I run a group, we call it community, and we meet on a Monday evening, 8 till 9:30, and I prep up an exercise. We do the exercise. We have a discussion. We share experiences, and that's a great process. But we also have the Expand app, and I put a link in the on the page. Now, the Expand app is the newly evolved HemiSync. So even the Monroe Institute itself is continually refining and developing the sound technology. So the sound technology they have at the on the Expand app is called Monroe Sound Science. And that is without a doubt way ahead of its field, because they've never stood still. They've just continued and continued and continued to evolve and develop. They set the next benchmark higher and the next benchmark higher. So the commitment is totally and only in this field. Whereas I think for some other organizations, they may have kind of split areas that they worked in. The Monroe Institute is a research and development centre. Basically, it is an institute. It's a non-profit. All the money that they make from trainings and things goes directly back to support the institute, to support keeping it going and the research, etc., etc. So what I've done is I've put into the on the Facebook page, there's the Expand app, which is free, and it's really, really worth exploring because there's some great exercises in there. I've also put in an exercise which I used during COVID. I've just put the link in. I didn't want to put the YouTube on because that's Facebook are being so twitchy at the moment. So, but I put the link to the Facebook, not the YouTube. And that is it's a 10-minute healing process. It starts with yourself and it builds out to your community and out to the world. And I got all the people I knew, we all got together in the ether, and we used to do that at the same time of day for us, wherever we happen to be in the world. We did it together right the way through, you know what. And it's fantastic. I mean, it helped us all individually. Some people who'd never meditated or done anything like that have actually moved on to a spiritual path as a consequence of those 10 minutes twice a day. It's great.
Tracey and Melora both had
Yeah.
questions.
Okay. Who would like to go first? So we'll take Melora first. Yeah.
Tracey was first because she.
Oh, Tracey was first. Sorry, it's because she's more my line of vision. Okay, Tracey, please. Yeah.
My question is on research in context with primary power sites across the planet and how that affects research, or how you believe it might affect research or not.
Sorry, could you repeat that, Tracey?
Yeah.
I'm missing some words with the so
the connection. Okay.
Yeah.
So research and primary gateways of the planet, and what primary gateways of the planet can do for research and the evolution of your research, for example.
I'm not. Your question isn't clear to me, I'm afraid. We
Okay.
use the term Gateway Voyage as the name of a program.
No, I'm using gateway as a gateway.
As a gateway, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you're asking me what?
Because any kind of research that comes in terms of balancing and unifying right and left brain is something that is deeply connected with Egypt and the work that the ancient Egyptians pioneered on many dimensions, including their technologies. And sorry, I've got a
No, it's okay.
virus.
I think I've grasped what you're asking.
So what I'm speaking about is the impact of consciousness and Earth gateways across the planet and how that can enhance the research that is being done, but perhaps it's not your area of interest.
That's not
Okay.
really. I mean, the Monroe Institute is a research and development institute, but from the bigger picture, I mean, we're working with interstellar communication in a number of the I mean, we have a program called Starlines. I mean, these are programs, but it's not the program that's the program. It's the journeying that the people go on the programs and the information they bring back.
Yeah,
All
I just wondered what that was looked like in terms of gateways, because of course.
what I'm trying to explain is all the information that people bring back from these journeys, which will include gateways and many of these aspects of the planetary shifts that are taking place at the moment. Those are all recorded. We keep a record of people's experiences, and so yeah. So yeah, I think that's as far as I can go without starting to make things up, and I don't do that. So
Okay.
Yeah.
It was just an interesting
Mhm.
thought. One of my interests is in how we can achieve, enhance the technologies that we're working with, but also achieve and enhance better scientific results.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that was the context of the question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would be more the technology department who are working in that field all the time. They will be the ones who will better be able to answer your question.
Okay,
If
thank
I
you.
may just interject for a second before you answer Melora's question.
Mhm.
I really, really felt when I connected with both of you recently, because Barbara also used to live in Egypt for a long time, that the two of you really need to meet and that you have a lot to communicate, both of you. I really feel that really, really strongly. So I just want to put that out there. Melora, you had a question.
I think she's frozen again.
Oh, no.
Oh no, you haven't. No,
She was deep in thought.
you were deep in thought. Pensive, yes.
Deep
Okay.
in thought, yes, frozen in thought. Yeah, so my internet connection is a little unstable, so please tell me if I cut in and out, and I'll try to move to another part of the house. I just had some really interesting thoughts about what you shared, Barbara, but before I get those, I'm question of the gateways and so forth. My understanding of that, I think what Tracey was maybe trying to allude to was the very powerful and advanced sound healing that was used during the beginning of this evolutionary cycle. Can you not hear me?
No, we can hear you. There's a couple of words that are missing, but we got you.
Yeah, we got you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Tracey, were you referring to the sound healing?
Not necessarily, no. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily. I mean, that's very mainstream, and so my work in Egypt is not attached to the mainstream. What I'm interested in is the cohesion of consciousness that is anchored at these particular primary gateways. So primary gateways, i.e. ancient technologies or ancient architecture that anchor our consciousness and anchor advanced consciousness or advanced intelligence and timelines.
I see.
Okay. So what were you going to? Sorry, I was just going to ask.
I just need to ask, because we can only spend maybe 2 or 3 more minutes. So
Okay.
if your question can just be solidified as with your answer, go ahead, Melora. What was your question to Barbara?
No, that's fine. I'll let somebody else speak now. Thank you.
Are you sure? Okay, okay. Well, if you have questions for Barbara, I'm sure you can contact her, right? Either through her Facebook or on her website, which is at the end of the post, which advertises this. Did you have something to say, Toby? I felt that you did. If you could unmute.
Barbara, what are the trainings that you do? Do you train people in preparing themselves for after-death experiences?
Right. Yeah. Yes, we actually have a program which is actually preparing people for passing over. Yes, that's one of the aspects. That program's called Going Home. The trainings I do here at the moment in Cyprus is Awakening, which is a very powerful. It's just a one-day program. I actually feel it's one of the most powerful programs that we have. It's very, very good. And it's helping people to deep dive within themselves and discover their potential, discover levels of them, their humanness that they didn't know existed, but also a level of their spirituality and their otherness that they possibly haven't even touched on. And most people go away somewhat changed from that program. And we do excursion, which is the first 2 days of Gateway. So that gives people a taster for what they will experience during Gateway. And we work with what we term Focus 10, which is a focus for expanded consciousness. And then we work with Focus 12, and we teach people how to get to these focus levels. So we work with Focus 12, which is an even more expanded and deeper level of working with 10. So we have a number. We've got 10, 12, 15, which is a place of no time, no space, where we can literally time jump forwards, backwards, and forever forwards. And then we've got 18, which is the place of the heart, 21, which is the place before the bridge to the next planetary levels, the next levels after we pass from being on this planet.
It sounds like a really huge subject, and I really
it is, yeah.
I really hope that you can come back. I have just a couple of things that I'd like to pick up on before we go to the next segment, just on the back of what you said. And I'm going to ask Tracey to lead the next segment. And when you do, if you could time yourself, and I'm also going to time you, and I'll give you 2 minutes out from when you have your 10 minutes. So just before we go on to Tracey's segment, I've just got a couple of things that I just want to address. You mentioned heart math. How would you concisely summarize what that is? How would you describe what that is?
With heart math, we have a number of different tools that we use for measuring heart rate variability. So we help people. The heart rate variability is when we're able to connect the heart and the brain together, and we get to the levels of higher levels of coherence. And it's a really, I've had people who are absolute techie wizards who've tried to prove it wrong, to try and prove it doesn't work. It works. It really does. For each individual, it gives a very, very, very clear reading. So it tells us where we are in our developmental stage, whether we're simply dealing with stress or we're looking at expanding our consciousness. There's so many different ways you can use it. It's used for trauma work. I've used it for years with the dyslexic children I've worked with, and help them to find their strengths and their abilities. It's very powerful.
Thank you. So after Tracey, I want to hear from Toby and also Carl. And Anna, I'm going to ask you to forego your segment this time because it wasn't scheduled.
I wasn't planning on doing
I
this
thought
segment.
so, but I
So,
yeah. So just wanted to speak very briefly before I hand over to Tracey on some of the things that you mentioned, Barbara. Thank you so much for doing this talk, and I would ask you to come again, please, and specifically next time, if you could speak on the subject of heart math, that would be amazing.
Delighted, yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, I just want to pick up on some things which you said. Number one was, I felt really strongly that there's a lady who's an animal psychic that's a past guest called Kelly Italiano, and she's based in Sicily. She had a forest school there, but there was a fire. But I feel that you two have something to communicate. Also, there's the work that you do with people that have passed, including the animals. There's a good friend of mine who actually I spoke to today. She's Australian, very powerful psychic, called Joy Smith, and she sits at home and welcomes. Sometimes she doesn't sleep all night, like maybe once a week or something like that, and she uses that time to help souls that have passed, that are passing over, to go over. And they find her. And once when I was at her house, I became aware of this whole other room in the spiritual realms that was above her flat. It stayed with me, that image of this whole other space where there was no physical space there. It reminded me of that when you were talking about it. Also, the crow, the bird, I had a very similar experience where me and my partner were sending healing to what we thought was a dead bird, and it came back to life. So
It's spooky, yes.
it was very interesting. I don't know if it was dead or injured or what, but it seemed dead and it came back to life. That was really interesting. And also, I just wanted to say that in the future, I think it's maybe next sacred segments or the one after, because you mentioned abduction. There's a lady who is a returning guest from Norway called Kate Thoraldson, and she's been on Gaia TV, and she's had a lifelong journey with ETs, and she's been abducted like multiple times, and she's going to share her her more recent experiences with that subject. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you so much. I feel like there's so much there, and we could go on for hours.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to not go on for hours.
Thank you, everyone. And okay, so let's just take a breath. Tracey, if you're with us, I'm going to ask you to speak about Stargates.
Thank you. Could I just have the screen share as well?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, I've made you the co-host.
Thank you. Let me see.
Thank you again, Barbara.
Here we are, I believe. It's always a bit faffy in the beginning, but I'm just coming in now. And it's just clearing up the screen. Okay. So Stargates are something I specialize in terms of my service to humanity, new psychology, and how consciousness relates to time and timelines, and how a Stargate can be used to not only travel, but encompass and integrate intelligence, new psychologies beyond this moment of time and space. A Stargate will allow us to integrate new dimensions, new levels of consciousness, new possibilities of a field or of a universal field of intelligence. So a Stargate will stabilize our own field. At the same time, a Stargate will integrate dimensions of consciousness, dimensions of intelligence that off a particular Stargate or primary Stargate, it would simply not be possible. The Great Pyramids, part of the pyramids field, Cairo, Egypt, holds an extraordinary vector, a convergence of time, timelines, psychology, and intelligence, where we meet immense integration, or where we have considerable integration within the technology, the architecture of a Stargate. We initiate our human capability and human capacity to influence humanity, to influence peace, evolution on the planet. So this is one of my areas of interest within the context of research and new psychology too. The pyramids were built as an architecture that not only harnesses a natural Stargate, but it enhances a natural Stargate, condenses the Stargate, condenses the timelines. When we enter a Stargate, a gateway of this caliber, it takes us into experiences of spontaneous healing and awakening, of consciousness changes that are simply enhanced by the universal field of intelligence merging with the Earth grid. This was my question to Barbara within the context of evolution of technologies, i.e., our technologies of healing and awakening. But what happens with our technologies, our spiritual technologies, our healing technologies, our awakening technologies, our consciousness technologies? What happens when we are in a Stargate that converges the extraordinary field of intelligence, the ecosystem of our planet. And that ecosystem, that field of intelligence, is perfectly merged by the architecture of the Stargate. And when I speak of a Stargate, I'm speaking in terms of vectors and convergences of timelines, dimensions and gateways of consciousness, that in third dimensional consciousness, in fourth dimensional consciousness, which is far more singular in nature, we harness a new consciousness capability, which allows us to access, tap into the field of consciousness of the planet, i.e. an arc library, and a field of consciousness that is also converging and merging, which is a universal field of consciousness too. This allows us to work and operate with contact, communication, and in contact and communication that physically materializes in our current timeline. So my interest has always been on metaphysics and consciousness capabilities that allow the materialization, the evidence, the impact, the extraordinary impact of time and intelligence beyond our own and within our own ecosystem on the planet. What happens when our own field of consciousness is reharmonized with Earth, with the universe, and with humanity, and when we enter a far more sustainable relationship as universal beings whose existence is conscious as custodians, as gatekeepers, as timekeepers for the planet. Is it time to go?
No, you have 2 minutes left.
Thank you, Alex. That's brilliant. So when we truly integrate and transcend experiences of third and fourth dimension, we really begin to harness a field of consciousness, a field of energy in the mirror of these stargates. And I want to find some of my photographs. In 2018, I was invited to the United Nations for my research and contact experiences. A stargate will allow us not only to time travel forwards, but will allow the dimensions, the gateways, the custodians of Earth across the universe. It will allow these interested parties of intelligence to materialize directly in our timeline. Now, this is something that's fascinated me since childhood. I'm just gonna see if I can pull up a couple of my photographs. And I just want to see if I can stop this share and go into another share so you can see this. Now, this is a photograph that was taken in the Great Pyramid, and my library of photographs and videos is something that not only fascinates, but also demonstrates when we truly direct the technologies of a Stargate, then our consciousness is transformed, activated, and enhanced, not only for that time, but for your existence to follow. And this is extremely important within the context of a strong and protected energy field. A strong and protected energy field will also allow you to penetrate the limitations of the matrix, elite, and toxic systems of power.
You have one more photo that you can share with us before.
Okay, I will. Thank you. And let me just grab one further. Oh, this one's super interesting. Just a minute. I have so many. Let me just come back into the group. Okay. One more photograph. Okay, this one. Okay. Within the context of the work that I do at Stargates, this particular photograph is taken just in front of the Valley of the Kings, Hatshepsut Temple. I'm channeling work on consciousness and evolution. What often takes place is that there is a spontaneous materialization of the dimensions of intelligence that are working with me and assisting me in terms of the work that I'm doing in my service to humanity. So these physical materializations are extremely important. Carl, I'm also a physical medium and trance medium as well. When we have the capacity to influence the elements, then the intelligence field of the planet will cooperate and demonstrate our capability to not only travel within the context of time, but will also demonstrate without a doubt that we are being assisted, we are being protected, we are being guided by star peoples across the universe. And Stargates take us into this extraordinary direct experience that on both a healing and awakening level, I see nothing surpasses it. And this is an extraordinary resource of miracles. And this is an extraordinary resource which resets any programming, any wounding, any limitations, so that we can recalibrate to our fate and our destiny.
That's time on.
Creator intents. Thank you, Alexis.
Thank you, Tracey. That's huge. That's amazing. And there's so much there. And we could go on. As with Barbara, it's a massive, massive subject. And there's not enough hours. I wish we could extend time, and we can, but I'm not at that level yet. And I know that you may be, but right now, right here, I'm going to bring it back to the group. And thank you, Tracey. That was magnificent. I am familiar with working with the star beings and have done so through the Aetherius Society, and it's an incredible, incredible honor and privilege to do that. And I feel that we can and are doing so right now. Thank you again, Tracey. I would like to hear from Toby. I'm interested to hear your journey, your work. Would you share some of that with us?
Okay, I sort of said some of this earlier. I was sort of thinking that was the 10 minutes. And I don't know that I need to take 10 minutes, but you know what, I'd like to say a little bit more about myself, but I'd like to talk about what I'd like to come back sometime and have a longer conversation. You know, I mentioned that I studied with Joseph Campbell, personally, you know, as a gay man, and I should say as a child, I was very religious and entered Catholic religious life out of high school, and was involved with the Catholic Church for about 7 years. Somewhere in all of that, in exposure to theology, I learned about Carl Jung, and I got exposed to Joseph Campbell and read about other religions. What I experienced as a gay man was realizing that all this religious pressure, all this anti-gay stuff in religion, you know, that's just that's a ripple on the surface, and the religions themselves are just ripples. They're clues, and the way to understand religion is as clues to this deeper thing which we're talking about is consciousness. I think the New Age, the kind of neo-paganism and New Age thought that y'all are talking about, has already kind of transcended traditional religion and sort of understands this, that, you know, we're at a time now, we don't think mythologically in the same way that the ancients did. We have a sort of an idea of science. We also have a whole, we're trying to talk about things that are going on at the level of consciousness, the level of interior life, the level of experience that you can't share with other people. You can only listen to them tell about their experience, or you can tell them about your experience. But the stuff that goes on inside us, you know, and we're all in this process of creating our own religion, understanding that the myths were clues, religion is all of this is also symbolic of something that transcends speech. Campbell talked about this as the new myth. What is it? What is a kind of world myth that we could all agree that includes all the past religions, but moves up a notch to see them all as I say, to use that word again, clues. So anyway, that's what I would like to come back and talk about. I think this is talking to an audience that's already up there, aware of this stuff. But yes, it would be fun to talk with y'all about this.
Would love that. Thank you. Toby, can I ask you, what's that statue next to you? With
this
the
little thing?
Yeah.
Isn't that neat? Actually, it's a when you see it, it's the top of a gate post.
Oh,
See,
wow.
for a garden gate.
Yeah.
It actually had belonged to a sort of a famous guy here in Austin who directed plays and theater and stuff. And we were in a play that he did. And my partner Kip painted the eyes of Buddha on there.
It's beautiful.
And it looks,
It
you know,
looks
and
like a
we've been to
stupa.
this in Kathmandu.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
the stupa there. Yeah.
Chirabanyan, I can't get the name of it, but anyway, so
Well,
and
thank you.
every so that's my little Easter egg or whatever you call it. You know, people look at that and wonder what has he got back there.
Well, I love what you said about transcending religion and, you know, merging them all and going beyond that. I think that that's a wonderful idea. And it's something very much needed on this planet at this time and into the future.
Yes, isn't it just unbelievable that religion, what's supposed to be the lessons about peace and love,
Right.
all turn out to be about warfare.
Sadly, yes. I never think that that was the intention, but absolutely, yeah, yeah. But here we are, and that's the state of affairs, sadly. But I think that we as individuals have the power to transcend that, and we're doing that, right? And the power is with us. It really is. It really, really is. Thank you for sharing, Toby, and really great to meet you. And
Thank you.
glad that you're here. And thank you again, Tracey. There was so much in what you said. Thank you also, Barbara. There was so much there. Huge, huge stuff. Okay, I would like to hear now from Carl and his guide, Katarang. And something that I've wanted to ask you all is to ask questions that come up. So I'm going to just leave it open, okay? I'm going to leave it open to you and be guided by your hearts to ask Katarang questions.
Excuse me, before I have a meeting that I have to go to in 10 minutes. May I excuse myself so that I don't interrupt
Of course.
this moment and let me get out of here because I need to go. Okay, thank you. See you soon.
Thank you.
Are you handing over to me or?
I am handing over to you
Okay,
and
yeah.
to also to the group.
Yes.
I may have a question to start with, and then whoever else wants to ask Katarang questions.
Yeah. So for those who've not seen before, I guess I just need to explain that I will go into trance, and my guide Katarang, or maybe some other guide will speak through me. Every time it's an experiment, you could say. There's always, you know, a reasonable level of success. But just for people not to be perturbed, then they don't know what to expect.
Yes. So as Carl is preparing to channel his guide, my question is going to be, I'm just going to put it out there right now. I would like to know the origin of Katarang and where he is from. I have a feeling that maybe this has been answered in the past, and I think it might be Tibet. I'm not sure, but we can ask Katarang. Hello, Katarang.
Hello, 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 hello.
How are you?
I was gently sneaking in as you were talking. So more of an easy transition for those who have not seen me work before.
Good. Okay. Thank you for being here.
Interesting energies today, though, must say, interesting energies. A lot of, you could say galactic static.
Wow.
But no matter, we are here. We are here with many enlightened beings who are always, as we know, interested in the topics of conversation and interested in the methods by which they can assist you. We can assist you in elevating your awareness, your consciousness, your understanding of self, because the path to enlightenment is through the understanding of self. But yes, we are here to offer our services as before, to take any questions you might have, or to give any insight that maybe you wish us to share.
Thank you. So I have a question as to the nature of your
You
origin.
need to speak up. You need to speak up. He didn't turn up the
Where are
volume
you
before
from?
you started. So
Where are you from?
maybe one moment. I try and. Okay.
Where are you from?
So speak.
Where are you from, Katerina?
China.
Oh, you're from China.
China. Yes,
And
now they call it China.
and did
Before
you-
was Tibet, but China now, China.
I see. And did you live as a human in China?
Yes. Many 100 years ago, 300 years ago, so much.
Wow.
In a cave, I do meditation. How you say also, for me, the earthly life, not very interesting. More of interest to me with my training in meditation, in inner work, to retreat into seclusion, you say, and in this way to offer my thoughts, my meditation as a vehicle for sharing, you could say, enlightenment for those around and for future generations to come. As you know yourself also, those times when we connect within, when we connect with the universal love, when we bring this universal love into the physical environment and share and act as a beacon, I think we spoke once before of this acting as a beacon, then this light, as it emanates from you, from your physical body, your energy bodies, and pervades through the atmosphere, through the physical matter, through the earth, it begins to feed and nourish, and not just those plant things, but also those human things. So in this way, there are many of us still in different parts of the world who choose to offer this form of service, where we act as beacons of light for the enrichment, the nourishment of all sentient beings, so that they may find within the secrets of their own being, of their own enlightenment, and open the doors to their connection with the universal mind, and thus their, you could say, ascension, the term that you like to use these days. We do not see that ascension, we see it as reuniting or unification with the universal consciousness.
I have one more question and then I'm going to hand it to the group. Katerina, when you passed over to the other realms, is time different for you as you experience it compared to how we experience it on Earth? These 200 years or however long that there has been, have you been in the other realms all this time as one being, or have you changed forms?
So, interesting question. I would have to say, honestly, since my last incarnation on this earth plane, I have not incarnated on the earth plane. However, I have participated, shall we say, in, you could say, spiritual outreach work. I'm using contemporary terms and nomenclature. Spiritual outreach work to other planetary systems, vibrationary systems. When you are in spirit, when you are in energetic form, And yes, we have, everything is energy, of course, and we are talking about different levels of vibration, different speeds of vibration. When you're in the higher vibrations, there is a vaster array of dimensions of planetary spheres in which we can travel, choosing to incarnate or not. In my case, I was choosing not to incarnate, but to act as, you could say, guides and instructors and observers, and assisting in certain planetary healings and such.
And are you able to come through at any particular person that you choose that invites themselves to be a channel?
So, good question. The mechanism by which we connect and communicate through a very dense, shall we say, physical apparatus like this one that has many complicated moving parts. And we are talking also energetic moving parts and not just physical moving parts, is very time consuming in preparation and training and education. So while in theory, we could communicate and work through any one person, in reality, the prerequisites, shall we say, for both parties with regard to training, with regard to tuning of the energetic and the physical bodies, such as hormonal systems, energetic systems, chakras, means that we in advance select and agree a partnership, and we work to develop and strengthen this partnership. And so it is, like you could say, an exclusive arrangement, because it requires such dedication and focus, both from us here energetically to find ways to work with the vibrations, lowering the vibrations, connecting to the denser planes, and also the, shall we say, higher self of the vehicle, of the channel, who also has on the inner plane, perhaps unconsciously from his physical body, begun to work and develop certain functionalities during their lifetime. So it is definitely possible, but the prerequisites make it rather exclusive. So yes, we could, with someone who has trained to a similar extent and has the ability to receive our frequencies with too much undue disturbance, we could also communicate through them, yes.
Does anybody have any questions for Kataran? Tracey?
I'm very interested in a renaissance in terms of work with spirit and service with spirit standing with us. Can you say a little more about the impact spirit can have, please?
The impact spirit can have on the human, shall we say, human race, or on individuals?
Both.
Okay, so individually, we work, as you know, we will skip the basic stuff because we work, as you know, as spirit guides and such, but also we work through the direction and the manipulation of certain energetic bodies when an individual is, shall we say, let's talk about this way. If we think about insects and we have chrysalis and pupae, and you know, they go through different stages of evolution before they transform into a butterfly. The human, not experiment, but the human experience is similar, and the energetic bodies are similar. And so there can be different stages of development where the energetic body transcends from one basic structure to a more refined structure, to a crystalline structure, to a diamond structure. And we use these different terms to explain in ways that are comprehensible to the physical person. So we facilitate very often the, as you like to use the word, the technologies that help to bring about the change in the frequency, bring about the increased ability to receive, to tune in to more subtle vibrations, maybe see more subtle frequencies. So this is one way we are working with individuals. We are working alongside their guides, alongside their higher self, alongside their, alongside ascended masters to facilitate the energetic transformation of their energetic body. Opening certain pathways, cleansing, you could say, certain energy centers, activating other energy centers, and such on. From a human perspective, when we talk about the human race and the galactic interaction between the human race and the other galactic intelligences, then we work more on a council perspective. We work not as individuals, but we work in groups and teams. In the same way, you could say you have corporate structures in your physical world. So we have structures also in the galactic spheres where we organize certain groups who have a focus on working with those who are motivated to do physical green, shall we say, planetary healing, or working and reaching out to groups who are interested in tackling pollution and the chemicals that are pervading the soil, or working with groups who are interested in discovering new medical technologies. And so then we work in a more broader approach, and there are many different spheres in which this can happen. And we might be working with different star beings who have certain expertise in those areas from their own galactic planets. Yes. Is this helpful to you?
Yes, it is. I would like to ask one more question, and then we have time for one more question from the group.
Am I looking in the camera? Did he put the computer back properly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. So you mentioned from the other that you have a pre-agreement with the channel. Is this pre-life?
Oh, many lifetimes ago.
Okay. Thank you.
And you know, sometimes we have been working through many lifetimes together, but not always in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So in preparation for the, shall we say, the stronger partnership, maybe we have been working with them on an intuitive level, and it has not been so, shall we say, physical, the trance work. But yes, it is, yes, in this case, with us, we have a lifetime, many lifetimes ago, made this arrangement.
Is your connection karmic to the individual channeling years?
Oh, interesting question. I would say in the first encounter engagement, there is no karma involved. It is like, shall we say, a research project, you might say. But as we work and progress together, then of course there will be decisions, learnings, outcomes that will impact one upon the other. And in this way, as you understand karma, as in, you know, how you say, each action has a similar reaction. There is always a counterbalance. So through the process of working together over many lifetimes, surely we have, you could say, a karmic connection, but it is not necessarily karmic as in the general understood as being negative, but the karmic as in, as you intertwine and become partners, then surely there will always be a giving and taking, a to and fro of intertwining energies between the two that become difficult to disassemble until both have fully completed the contract and worked on, you could say, dissolving any residual chords that might be, if necessary, in the spiritual world.
Thank you. A final question from Barbara. Barbara, if you could unmute.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Thank you for being here, Catalan. It's so very interesting listening to you, and
It is our pleasure.
a pleasure. But yeah, and so, do you have any messages for us at this time, as in the planetary space that we're in?
Hey, you know, the message we always have to share is always the most simple one, because the deepest truths are in the most simple words. And our message is just take a little time to connect within. The more you can connect within, the more you can strengthen that connection to your inner solar center, you could say, your inner sun, your connection with the divine, and allowing that connection to grow in strength, and opening your mind to the guidance that comes through your heart center. Then, ignoring everything else, but then doing that little by little, you are tuning in to your spiritual guidance, you could say. And so you will start to set one foot after the other on the more correct path. You will start to be a vehicle for spirit without your knowing it, without your conscious decision making. So we always offer this as the most simple message, because truly, yes, we could say, oh, you need to go and tackle this or tackle that. But without the heart connection, you will always start to be distracted or pulled in different directions. And what is most important is that we are connected to the divine creator, his expression, his love, his guidance through our heart center.
Katarang, thank you for this simple
Thank
yet
you.
profound wisdom. Thank you. Okay, thank you for being here, Katarang. We now need to close this segment. And thank you again for visiting us and for being with us, and to all that made this possible. Thank you. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Thank you, everybody. That was amazing. And very quick, energetically quick. It felt. Carl, thank you. Okay.
Can I just ask Carl a question? Do you feel tired after the experience, Carl?
No, not normally. If I'm due, like sometimes I've done like a demonstration, which is maybe an hour and a half or whatever, then afterwards I'm not tired, but by late evening I feel it. But I do get very hot sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to close this this evening with just hearing a couple of words from each of you. I would like you all to select a power word, meaning just one word that you'd like to connect with, and also speak a gratitude for something in your life. And Veronica, if you want to type that, if you can hear that, don't feel that you have to. I'm gonna work backwards towards Carl, and I'm going to include myself as well. Anna, I'd like you to go first.
Okay, so what is again? Gratitude and
a power word, something that you would like to connect with as an energy.
so I'd like to connect with ease. And my gratitude is for electricity.
Yes, thank you, Anna.
In all of its forms.
And I love that color, that beautiful, beautiful blue.
Oh, I love this. And it's so warm and soft. Thank you.
Yeah, lovely to see you. Thanks, you look great.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Anna. Tracey.
divinity.
Did you say
Um,
divinity?
Yes, divinity and divinity.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Wonderful to see you. Thank you. My dear Greta, so glad you could make it this evening.
Me too, my dear Alexis. My power word is focus, and my gratitude is my tribe.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
You remind me of like an Amazonian woman, like full of power.
Wow.
Love
Thank you.
that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Barbara.
Right. So my power word is flow, and my gratitude word is community.
Beautiful. As you said, flow. That spiral just really, really lent itself to that energy. That was gorgeous. May I ask you what your crystal is? Because it's really beautiful.
Yeah. This is from Egypt, actually. It's a hang on, I shall just move my camera. Oops. There you go. No, doesn't want to. That's interesting. Doesn't want to show. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? If you go back to where you were and just hold it up. Just hold it up. That's it. Yeah.
It looks like moonstone or
I was
something.
going to say moonstone or jade.
Or
And I'm
jade.
sure, and I'm sure that that Tracey will
Turquoise.
recognise.
It looks like Libyan glass.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. We've got turquoise,
Yeah.
Malachite.
malachite. Yeah, and this is. I'm not quite sure what that is.
Moonstone.
It looks like a Libyan,
Okay.
which is extremely rare and only found in the Western desert.
Right. Well,
Cool.
it was definitely it was made by somebody
Yeah.
who was
It's
in that
really
sort of area. Yeah. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a very nice piece.
Thank you.
It really is. And I just want to say, Barbara, you know, your energy, your eyes, just the energy that comes through you, it's so beautiful. Honestly, you're such a beautiful, wonderful being. And
Oh,
I'm so
thank you.
pleased to have met you. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Carl.
So my power word is connection, and my gratitude is connection.
Wow. Awesome. I saw a tube just like going into the heavens. She said that. It's amazing. Very similar to the spiral, but different. Thank you, Carl. And thanks for your service this evening. Amazing. Okay, DJ.
Hey, well, I think my power word will be acceptance. And there is another word for it, but it phrases focus on what you have and not what you don't have. I think there's a word for it.
You get more beautiful with time, DJ. You really do.
Thank you.
You really do. Thank you. Thank you for being here. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you for having me.
So my power word will be radiate, and my gratitude is serenity. And I'm really pleased to have shared this evening with you because I felt discombobulated and you've all brought me back to myself. Thank you. Really appreciate each one of you. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. If you can make next sacred segments, I know it's going to be good. I do have access to my phone. I thought I'd lost it. It's right next to me. And I can tell you now who is going to be the main guest. You're all invited to do segments if you wish It's in 2 weeks from today. Today was an extra session because of the one that I couldn't make. So it's shifted everything into the alternate week, but that's how we do. So it was meant to be Faith Spinner, but she decided that she couldn't make it. But Melanie Lococo, who is the ex-director of giving at Hay House, is going to be joining us. Not as the main guest, but the lady that was here before is going to be the main guest. So Melanie Lococo was kind of like Louise Hay's best friend kind of thing. She hung out with her all the time. And I met her the day that I met Louise Hay. And that happened quite magically. But if you could make it, then it will be great to see you. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your evening. I'm meeting Tracey tomorrow evening in person because she's in the UK, and I'm excited about that. I look forward to seeing you then, and have a beautiful evening, and thank you for everyone, and see you soon. Much love.
Alexis, so I think so Veronica just shared with me directly, but her power word is gratitude, and her gratitude is presence.
Oh,
Beautiful. I'm so glad you shared that, Veronica. Thank you. And thank you, Carl. See you all soon. Bye.
bye.